Good evening, and welcome to today's show, today's talk show. And it is on how religion has affected our thinking. Has religion affected your thinking positively or negatively? Religion and religious activities are sets of activities that have been with men since time immemorial. Obviously, they must have affected us one way or the other in what we think, in what we say, and how we act. But in today's podcast, we want to go beyond the things that we are seeing. We want to go deeper to, see how these sets of activities have affected us, either encouraging us by way of progressive thinking and movement, or they have succeeded in keeping us at a place. So, in today's show, as always, we have the eggheads who normally crack the very, very hard questions to crack. The guys who are shooting from the waist, the ones who hit the nail rightly on the head. So today we shall be going on this journey of exploration, this journey of self-discovery, to know how religion has really affected our thinking, more especially those of us from the other side of the divide of the world. Let us look at how religion has really been of positive influence, or if they have really affected us in by way of retrogression. So I indulge you, who those of you who are watching, to chime in with your questions, with your contributions, and make this a very, very interactive session, so that we can bring knowledge, we can help to shape understanding, we can push back on the boundaries of ignorance, because most times when we act and we act ignorantly, it has a way of affecting us negatively. Ignorance is a disease, and we want to do away with such retrogressive thinking. So many of us have decided, in the name of religion, not to even see beyond the tip of our noses. But I don't think religion has been of help over the years, but we some of us have decided to stand still and be marking time, like if you don't do anything except religion says you should do that, then the world comes to an end. So with me on today's show is the ever uh, hard hitting and the guy who shoots from the waist, Mr. Samuel Nadi. I'm bringing him on. I see Mr. Ejike Chima is watching, and I'll try to bring them in and see what they think about today's show. And we'll get cracking on that. So, how has religion affected our thinking, positively or negative? So, if you have anything to say, this is the time to say it. If you have any contributions to make, we 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 urge you to say it. Say it with every sense of honesty and understanding, because whatever we say here, we try to shape lives. We try to bring knowledge where there's ignorance. We try to throw light into darkness and make people see the things they had not seen before. And you may be looking at something and actually you're seeing a different thing when you are not operating from the point of understanding. Mr. Nadi, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, T.
Yeah,
How
Ejike, you're welcome to the show too.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mr. T.
yeah, yeah. It's good to have you guys on today's show. And although I'm not seeing you, but I know that you guys are really prepared for what we have going today. And you know, by way of introduction, you've seen what the topic is all about. How do you think that? How has religion affected us, positively or negatively, Mr. Nadi? Take the first shot.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, first, let me thank our brother Ejike,
Yeah.
for tuning in to be part of this conversation as well. I think
Well,
this
I was going to do
this
that at the end of the show to appreciate him for coming on on a very, very short notice.
short notice, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, I think this in my views, I think this could be kind of it could be related to the thing that we discussed yesterday.
yeah,
Um,
closely
yeah,
related.
it's a part of an extension of what we discussed yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, it's still all about religion, and there is one key importance to this topic, and the more we try avoiding it, the more it's even get closer to us, or ripping us off, basically, or even if it's something of benefit, it's still it will be of great benefit to us. So it's a conversation that we, regardless of how much we avoid it, it's not going to avoid us. It will always reach to us. Um, Personally, Mr. T, I was going to say something that I haven't said to a lot of people. I've personally made decisions myself to be a deicist, and um, and it's a decision I've taken so dearly, and it's a decision that I've taken so much time to, to analyze things that is around me, and tracked my record from base one to base two,
Yeah.
to I get to that conclusion that uh, I believe that religion itself, specifically from where we're coming from, it's done so much harm. It's done so much harm to us that it's sometimes it's become a bit more what's the right word to use, but uh, that when you even want to express yourself about the activities, the religious activities around you, you end up either being a critic or somebody that is a bitter person that is always trying to talk against things that they don't like, basically. So if I use this as my opening topic, opening statement, I think it will create more background to what I'm going to say subsequently.
Yeah.
But in my personal view, religion on its own, the word religion, it's a very good thing. It's a good thing that people want to stimulate themselves. They want to have some connections to the divinity, to supernatural things, to things that are beyond human ability or human's power. But on the other hand, if these things are not well monitored, that idea may end up in the people that will use the same concept, because it's all embedded in not facts and figures or things that can be that you can track or check. If it ends up, it's like when you have given a weapon to a terrorist. The weapon, like an ammunition that you have, it can be useful and it can be useless. It can even be dangerous. But if this concept of religion, which is a very good thing, is not given to the right people or the right person to operate them, it could turn into a disaster. And this is what we are having in the society where I came from. I'm talking about my personal view. My brother AGK may have his own different approach to it, but from my personal view, the weapon has been given to the wrong operators in our own society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nadi. AGK, by way of intro, can you just address the question? You know, how has religion affected our thinking? You know, when we are talking about religion, we don't have any religion in mind. As you may know, we have the Christian religion, we have the Muslim religion, we have, those who do we say the traditional religion. So our religion has no cap. Yeah, it is not definitive of any specific sect. So, but we're just looking at religion in the entirety, both the atheist and whatever you proclaim to worship. So we want to know how these things have affected our thinking. So, because when people saw the topic, it was just like the ordinary thing that you get to see every day. So by way of intro, we are not being specific to any sect.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. T, and thank you, my brother Sam. Well, I will be brief and concise in my intro. Yeah. Going straight to your question, I will say that religion has done, would I say, more harm than good to the world generally. Yeah. Someone like me, I have this habit of telling people, can we just forget about religion and adopt humanity? Because to me, that is the greatest religion, if we all adopt humanity, because humanity will make you love your neighbor, make you not to harm your neighbor, make you not to hate on anybody, and such things. But when we look at it from the religious perspective, from the religious angle, you will discover that you will realize that the kind of division that we have currently in the world today, the world over, is worse than it possibly could have been without religion. Because in the Christian religion, the Catholics don't agree with the Anglicans, and vice versa. The Anglicans don't agree with the Jehovah's Witness. The Jehovah's Witness don't agree with the Deeper Life. The Deeper Life don't agree with Assemblies of God, and the division goes on and on. Everyone with their own ways, with their own doctrines, with their own beliefs. In Islam, you have the Shiites disagreeing with the Sunnis and the rest of them. I don't know the text that they have there. Then the Hindus believe that the Christians are not worshiping God. The Muslims are not in support of what the Hindus are doing, and things, this cycle of hatred and disagreement keeps going on and on and on. Of a truth, religion brought with it some things that we could say are positive. Yeah, because when I started looking more closely at Islam, I discovered that Islam has a staggering number of scholars, people who are very cerebral, people who think, philosophers and wise people. Same with Christianity that came with the Western education and civilization and stuff like that, though someone could agree or argue that the world was moving to civilization before Christianity came in and brought their own version and stuff. But then we can't say that it didn't play any role, religion didn't play any role in bringing civilization and some form of development. But then the problem lies on people who adhere to these religions, we who adhere to these religions. Normally, I'm not aware of any religion that preaches hatred. If you go to the Quran, if you go to the Bible, if you go to whatever book any religion uses, no religion preaches hatred for your fellow human beings. But then, where are these hatred coming from? This hatred that we have for our neighbors, for our brothers, for our sisters, for our parents, for our children, for our siblings, where is it coming from? If we are all religious. So my problem is actually not with religion. My problem is with we, the adherents of these different religions. So, and we hold tenaciously, we hold very firmly to our factions and our beliefs in these religious divides and use it as a platform to discriminate against others. So it's not the religion that says we should discriminate, but it is we, the practitioners, who use it as a cover to perpetrate evil. So on that basis, I would say that religion has done good, it has done bad. But if we put them in a weighing balance, I would say that it appears that the negative is beginning to outweigh the positives. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ejike. That was a good one. Just like you said, we are going to be concise and straight to the point. Now, there's a contribution by one of our regular one of our regular followers here, Kingsley. He said, "Gentlemen, don't forget that religion, which also heralded the Western civilization in our clime, made it possible that we come in contact with modernity. Otherwise, we'll still be like some undiscovered tribes in the Amazon jungle." we are taking notes. Now, Sam, I want to ask you this. Do you, against the background of this this contribution, do you think that religion have shaped the values, our thinking and our actions going forward, coming against the background of what Kingsley has said, in this time and age? Do you think that religion has continued in the manner that he described here? Hello, Sam?
Muted, probably.
Hello, Sam?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. We can hear you now. Did you get my question?
Yeah, I got your question. Well, thank you. I was gonna our brother Kingsley for making that comment. It's quite important. I think it steers a very good argument on the impact of the Western and religious input in our community. But the thing there is that, that one thing that we always miss. It seems like these Western people, they are the institution of knowledge and civilization. It seems like they are inbuilt civilization, as if they don't get in contact with any country, that they won't even civilize or being advanced in anything. Let's not forget that there are lots of countries in the world that didn't get in contact with Western civilization. That a country like Japan did not. The Western country did not infuse on them their religion or their this, and they are still very much developed, even in hand. I mean, shoulder to shoulder to the Western world. China, as an example, as well. Ethiopia, which is part of Africa. For us that lives in the diaspora, it's this one of these big arguments when people, when you even have to challenge the Western people about the atrocities that they committed in Africa. It seems like this argument, we don't even have a balance to this. We don't even have, what do I call it, a backup to this argument, when we still assume that people who have come to us to rip us off have actually done us an advantage. This actually gives you the idea of what manipulations or gaslighting can make a sect or people to the way they start thinking. There is no way colonization or slavery or even everything that comes with this religion was meant to be for any benefit to whoever that was involved or was a victim of it. Just to get to what our brother Kinsley said, it's not really the Western people that introduce us to civilization. We have our own civilization before the Western people come, and that context, if we want to dive into what civilization is, it's all about people coming together to innovate and build and have something in common, that building modernization within themselves, trying to expand their knowledge from one end to the other. And we had it ourselves. We had our ways of reading and writing. We have our way of making our own food. We have our ways of doing our own things, even before the civilization come. In fact, at a certain point, according to some of the things that I've read over history, that even what do you call it? This sort of self-rule was part of what knowledge that the Western people learned from the eastern part of Nigeria, because before they even come to the eastern part of Nigeria, we are already adhering to the system of everyone. We don't have somebody who is a lord or who is a king. We rule ourselves. We all believe in self-ruling, which is part of democracy or something like that. So, but to add more, we have our way of life, which was meant to be leveling up or kind of going parallel to the level of civilization that is going all over the world, just like the one in Japan. The Japanese have got their way of life. I think this colonization and all these things actually disrupted this our way of life. It disrupted this our culture, which was meant to be evolving from generation to generation. But I mean, if it wasn't this obstruction, by now some of our forefathers who are craftsmen, they would have evolved to a certain to the level that their craftiness may turn up to become something that may be a modern invention. And this is exactly exactly the tile on in every part of the world, in every civilization or evolution of human. Even in the United Kingdom, they keep learning from their mistakes and keep evolving. It's not about the Western country is not like the heaven that we are mandated to get involved or get linked with before we can actually civilize ourselves. No, it's not actually the truth. We have our own civilization. Maybe their own civilization may be more advanced. But as it stands now, if you have to analyze these things and even make a good result from everything, you'll find out that we are not actually progressing with just because we were involved with the Western civilization. We are actually retrogressing, because most of the things that we ourselves would have learned from this process, this slow and steady process. And now most of it is we have lost most of these things. You go, I mean. So we have got a system in place that have been progressing even before the white man came. So they didn't come in and change the story for us. They didn't come in and change the story. It was actually them turning up that actually changed us for bad, rather than changing us for good. That's what I was gonna say.
Thank you very
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, thank you very much. Ejike, still on this question, on this contribution, you know, it reminds me this saying that Mungo Park discovered River Niger and all those, you know, as if to say there were no people, you know, drinking or swimming in the River Niger before Mungo Park came. Well, about then, just in line with Sam's contribution, the disruption of the religion, the religion of the indigenous communities by the coming of the religion that our brother alluded to. Do you think this thing has been of benefit to us or has done us more harm? Like our brother pointed out. Ejike. Hello, Ejike.
Oh, sorry, can
Hello,
you hear me
Ejike.
now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, all right. Sorry, I muted myself. Like I said earlier, that every people had directions that they were headed to. Yeah, before one way or the other, at some point, religion and civilization, in quote, yeah, intercepted their journeys and kind of it either derailed or diverted their direction, or completely overshadowed their visions. Yes, in eastern Nigeria, as my brother cited, we had this system. History has it that we had this system of self-rule even before the arrival of missionaries and colonizers and all those people. Yeah, but the problem is that we decided to throw away completely who we are and started making attempts, started trying to be a different people. And it brings to bear this saying that you can only be the best version of yourself. You can never be the best version of another person. I can only be the best version of Ejike. I can never be the best version of Osondo or the best version of Samuel. Samuel remains the best version of Samuel. I can try as much as I want. I can put in more efforts than even Samuel is putting to be him. But the best I can be is an imitation of Samuel. So that is the problem with many countries, many people who embraced completely what religion brought to them. Now, the consequence is that we are not moving forward. I don't know if we are moving backward, but I'm sure we are not moving forward as we probably would if we had continued on our course as a people from the onset originally. You know, every person, there's this saying in Igbo language that says that "Nko the number."
Yes, sir.
So every people are calibrated to live their own way according to where they find themselves, according to how they are thinking and how their lives are wired. But the problem is that we borrow and we bastardize. We try to be better than the people who taught us what we learned, and it is not possible. So it is still time. It is still time for us to have introspection and talk to ourselves. Can we go back to being who we are, what we are created to be, based on our peculiarities, based on our environment? Yeah. And we can always borrow and add to what we have, but not throwing away who we are in order to be other people, in order to become another person, which we cannot do, which we cannot succeed, we can never succeed in doing. So I will agree with my brother that a lot needs to be done in terms of talking to ourselves, telling ourselves the truth, that this effort that we have put into trying to be other people, if we put this same effort into being ourselves, it will do us more good than bad. So I think I want to agree that we really need to think and act. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Nnadi, I have it on good authority that you were brought up in a Christian family, in a Christian-dominated environment. Your upbringing was conditioned or was influenced by the Christian religion. Now you've grown up. What has changed? Because the way you're talking, you seem not to be reflecting the. You earlier mentioned that you want to be known as an atheist.
An atheist now.
Yeah. Now, so what changed?
I didn't say atheist, but continue anyways.
Okay, what was it you said? So
Deist.
that I can.
Deist.
Oh, deist.
Okay.
Deist.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like you to also give us the meaning of that deist when you're answering this. So what changed? What changed your thinking? Because your upbringing was influenced by the environment of your time, and then the teaching, the Christian religious teaching of your time. Then all of a sudden, you are now becoming a deist. What's changed? What conditioned your?
Thank you again. Once again, thank you. I was going to say something to add to what our brother Kingsley just added in the comment box as well. Like he was mentioning about
being too young to understand. They said that about ripping us off. You guys were probably too young to remember the 70s when there were still vestiges of colonial rule. The taps ran, education was qualitative, workers were paid on time, and there was security and order. And all these are left. Now we are left with is Alibaba and the 40 thieves.
That comment actually it opens up the impression that we being able to not just look at the problem, but also looking at what is the cause of this problem, what is the root cause of this problem, and I think that is the benefit of having a conversations like this, so we can have the interactions and then we can unveil this bad eggs or whatever you want to refer it to. The problem is what is the root cause? Because before these Western people come into our civilization, we don't have those thieves. Those thieves was not there. So something actually changed. So what was those things that changed? Because if you see somebody that stole something, you don't just, if you just look at it from the perspective that, oh, this guy is a thief, not even looking at why. Maybe this guy haven't got food to eat. Maybe he's come from a very alienated family or family that is something like that. There must be a cause. There must be a reason, and this is what part of the things that was taken away from us. We are not able to, investigate things. We are not willing to investigate our situation. And that brings me back to where what have changed that you just said now. And that what have changed is that within the process of my growing up as a child, I have been, inducted with this mentality that we shouldn't be investigating, that the investigation is not part of our norms or culture, or it's not the system that we practice. And these are all embedded in our religious concept, which gives us the morals. Because obviously, as we were mentioning yesterday about the functions of each segment of what we discussed yesterday, basically, what is the function of religion? What is the function of culture? What does religion do in society? And the religion is allocated to this framework of people be moral, framework where people know what is wrong and what is right. That is the basic foundation of religion. And in our society, where we're coming from, the only way you can actually know what is wrong and what is right is if you've been taught what is wrong or what is right. And from my personal view on what I have actually learned coming over to a different environment is that for you to even know what is wrong and what is right, you need some, what do I call it? You need to investigate. You need to find out what is the problem. You need to be able to define what is wrong and what is right. But it seems like religion have all structured all of these things, that whatever the religious sect have designed to be wrong and right. So that is the concept that a man that is a religious person will still go to his office and take bribes and still come back and give offerings in churches. But that's not the point. That's not my major point anyways. My major point is that we're not being able to investigate problems. We're not being able to take time to investigate why did things change? Why did things change after the Europeans left? Why did our people start being corrupt? Because they remember, these guys came into our country, they took away our own civilization and gave us their own civilization. And that civilization is what our brother Ejike have just mentioned. This this civilization that they gave us is a second-hand civilization, an imitated civilization, and a civilization that is not natural to us. A civilization that is not part of us. It's a foreign civilization. And for us who are just pressured with these new ideas, new way of life, new values, new everything, we were struggling. We end up just like, it's like people repeating the same mistake. Because some of the things that we are suffering, that is our problem at this point, is something that our forefathers have suffered before. And they are finding a pattern, and they are finding a solution towards it. And this is that idea of culture, culture, because this culture, it involves people make mistakes and they learn from those mistakes, and they keep going on, and they keep, advancing. And this civilization that they brought to us it draws us back rather than making us advance in our life. So, but to bring it back to my question, to the answer that you mentioned, to the question that you asked me about what have changed. What have changed? What a deist actually is I believe there is a God. I believe there is a supernatural God that lives in that, but we don't know where he lives. The only thing I don't believe is that this God has got some functions in human activities. I don't believe that God, influence humans' activities. So, and this is contrary to what religion is upholding, which is the belief that God decides who lives and who dies. And there's a lot of questions that I've asked that people have not given me answers to it, because obviously from my personal investigation, what I found out that this Trojan God that the religious people present is them themselves acting as if there is some supernatural being, but if you unveil what is in that supernatural being, it's actually them bishops, them popes, them pastors that ends up taking all the benefits that they are assumed to be allocated to God. So the religious huh?
No, go
The
on.
religious setting does not give people the ability to investigate. It's all about belief. Just they want you to believe in things. They want you to believe. I'm also a follower of Jesus. I follow Jesus. I believe that Jesus. I believe that Jesus is an ideal person to ideal character for somebody to emulate. I believe that his teachings about love, peace, making sacrifices for others are things that should be emulated. These are the features of being a deist, rather than being a dogmatic person that just have to be listening to somebody to be instructing you on what is wrong and what is right, and whatever your natural human endowment, which is your common sense or your conscience, being overshadowed by somebody else who thinks they are more clever or more smarter than yourself. So, if I want me to continue, I've more to say.
No. I think you've done justice to that. Then I want to ask this
Somebody
question.
sent it. Somebody sent a star.
I'm going to appreciate him.
Okay.
Franklin. Franklin, I really appreciate you, but I'll get back to him. I just don't want to lose the trajectory of this thing now.
Yeah, chasing stuff.
Yeah. No, we are here to chase stars. Educate. In your intro, you talked about religions that are pushing and teaching peace, but the practitioners are doing an entirely different thing from what they preach. You understand?
Yes,
That
yes,
was
I'm
part
with you.
of your intro. Now, religious teachings and texts, promoters of set of ideals and dogmas that we must follow. You see pastors, GOs, imams always telling you to do this when they themselves cannot even do that. What they preach is different from what they do. Do you think they are part of the problem?
Oh, well, they are not part of the
And
problem. Okay.
before you do that, I was reading something where one general overseer was reported to have said that they were going to have their council meeting in the moon. I don't know if anybody saw that. That they were. I don't understand the relevance of that to the current problems that we are facing in Nigeria.
Probably
So are they?
the moon is closer to where his God is. So
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Are they the ones who are conditioning our thinking to think contrary to what Sam said, to think that God will come down and begin to do the things that he has given us brains to do? God himself will come down to do them for us.
All right. Well, in contrast to what my brother stands, I'm not a deist.
I know you're not a deist. If you're the
I am,
deist, yeah,
yeah, I'm not an
for the record.
atheist. Yeah. So, you said if the teachers and influencers in the different religious factions are part of the problem, and I was going to tell you that they are not a part of the problem. They are the problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Because one thing that religion has done to the world is conditioning the way people think, beclouding people's visions, and zombifying
I like that.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zombifying people, in quote. When they tell you to believe without asking questions, and you accept to believe without asking questions, when they tell you to allow supernatural beings to help you accept or to interpret to you what you don't know, what you don't understand, what's the essence of having these teachers and clerics here with us? But if you ask questions, when you start asking questions, they will see you as a decent or somewhat anti whatever side of the religious divide they are. So I think the problem stems from the teachers in religion, the scholars, the clerics, having their own interpretations of what the scriptures in their respective holy books say, having their own interpretation and imparting this their own perception and understanding of these teachings in their holy books to their followers. Now, where the conflict arises is that my own teacher will teach me based on his own understanding. Your own teacher will teach you based on his own understanding. And in most times, most cases, my teacher's understanding is different from your teacher's understanding. And that's where problem starts. Because I will believe that your teacher is not inspired by the supernatural. You will believe that my own teacher is not inspired by the supernatural. We were doing a Bible study somewhere, sometime, some years ago. And one little boy stood up and asked, please, Reverend, is it true that anybody who is not a Christian will not go to heaven? The priest waited for some time before answering that question. But eventually, because of the way people's minds have been conditioned, because if he had answered otherwise, it would have been contrary to what he has been teaching people. So he said to the boy, yes, that if you're not a Christian, you will not go to heaven. So it sparked up a kind of argument, and someone like me, in such things, I like playing the devil's advocate, and I really like to shake that table and get out the truth, the fact. I told the priest, okay, I am born a Christian. So if I was born into another religion, groomed in that religion, taught the tenets and the beliefs of that religion, without me having that opportunity to experience Christianity, probably in one small village I was born, and the religion I'm born into is the only religion that is being practiced there. And I never in my life had the opportunity to go elsewhere where I could encounter Christianity or another religion. So what is my fault there now that will not allow me to make heaven? That what we should be teaching people is to be righteous. And I always say, righteousness is very simple. It's very hard because we have made it hard, but it is very simple. Righteousness revolves around loving your fellow person. Because when you love your fellow person, you won't steal what belongs to you and your neighbor. You won't be jealous when your neighbor is progressing and you're not. You won't hate your neighbor for no reason. You won't be greedy when it comes to something that you have with other people. So that love, and that is that humanity that I said, that we should just drop religion and practice humanity. If we practice love, if we love one another genuinely from our hearts, there'll be no need for going to church, going to the mosque, hearing preachings every day. We are just the ones complicating the whole thing. Let us preach love. Let us practice love, genuine love. I mean, once we practice genuine love for each other, I tell you, without exaggerating, 99.9% of the world's problem will be solved. Because when we love each other, our politicians and our leaders will not be too greedy to confiscate everything that belongs to our commonwealth. And when that happens, you discover that the thing goes round. So, true religion is drawing us backwards.
Thank you very much.
Religion is it's making us to retrogress, honestly. So that is my take. I don't know if I took too much time.
No. The most important thing is just to give perspective to why we are here. Sam, there's a contribution from a fine Chukwu Nnadi. I want you to look at it and give us your perspective on that. Is that those that brought Christianity to us are the ones getting ready for war at any time? My question has always been, can't prayer solve all these sovereignty issue? It's like I'm the only one following what is going on right now.
Yeah, well, Mr. T, you know, it's just typical of what we were saying. It's like when you have a weapon and somebody else is telling you to put your weapon, put it away, that it's only his own weapon that is going to be useful. He's just letting the man have a dinner in your head. And this is typically of what religion does. They make you not think about anything. You don't think. You just allow them to make you to ride on your head and decide what you're meant to be thinking. It's all over the place. But one thing that I was gonna highlight from what our brother Ejike have just said about humanity and all of that. Let's not also forget that even the Jesus that we that is in the center of this concept of religion was actually Christianity.
Christianity.
The Jesus that is in the center of Christianity was killed by religious people. It was religious people that conspired the killing of Jesus. So it gives you even a better understanding that what this concept, and actually I want to draw a line from that as well. Like the reason why Jesus was actually killed was him being objectional, him being objective, questioning things that they are doing in their dogma, questioning some ideologies that is not acceptable. And it keep asking them questions. If this was that, if one of your cattle will go missing on the Sabbath day, would you not go after them? He keep questioning these dogmatic ideas that is all what we decided, is all what we have established. That you don't need to add to it. You don't need to even contribute to it. So and this is part of why I made my decision that I mentioned to you earlier on about me. I understand there is God. He's only a fool, and in my view, I don't even think even the atheists that challenge the presence of God in the world, that they still have some what do I call it, the blind spots, the unknown factors in their quest for knowledge. They still have this unknown factor where their knowledge stops, where they feel like there is some other supernatural things that attributes to those activities. So having said all of that, I think that it's only when we start reasoning that we can start asking these questions. I made a comment in our last podcast. Me in Enugu, I know more about Abraham and Moses than more than some people in Israel, where Moses actually come from. But today, we are reading about how God used Elijah to how Elijah commanded fire from heaven, and the descendants of Elijah is inventing the one of the air defense systems in the world. They are inventing one of the best air defense system in the world. And my pastor is still telling me how the God of Elijah will protect me from, domestic issues. And then you're not allowed to even, ask questions or challenge this concept and even refer to them, to the descendants, to the children of Elijah. And these people are not replying, or they're not, answering the same. If they have conflict, or if there should be a fight between Nigeria tomorrow and Israel, Israel is not going to come with the God of their forefathers. They're going to come with their weapons. But
Sam, there's a question here. There's a question Ifeanyi Chukwuna asked.
That is part of what I'm answering. Isn't it what I'm answering?
Okay.
Yeah, that's literally what I'm answering, Mr. T.
Okay.
So now you've interrupted me. I've lost balance in what I was talking. But to wrap up what I'm saying, to wrap up my comment, we need to start. We need to understand that we come first. The reason why God created us and God created us individually, He could have created us in a group and allocate to us this, this conscience or brain is for us not to be manipulated by somebody else, for us to be able to be cognitive enough to decide or make decisions ourselves. So if anybody else, like somebody who thinks that this is part of people trying to be clever, is telling you that is this one, and I'm just going to say about the pastor that just you mentioned that said they will be going to the moon for meetings and all of that. It's just part of an example of the I mean, what do I call it? The stupidity of not being able to think, because Russia and America have been to the moon in the 50s, and this same man within that 50, he's still telling his congregations how God of Elijah will protect them. Understand? So even if he will learn his lessons starting from now, it will be of a benefit to everybody to teach them that we should be investigating on how to get to the moon or how to get to the sun, because obviously the other part of the planet have been exploited by other countries. So if we should start teaching them that going to the moon is part of God's agenda for us. So for us to get to the moon, we need to have astronauts that will be able to invent this concept or invent these ideas or invent the tools that we can use to travel to the moon. This is what every other part of the world is doing. Not by, organizing prayer meetings. I'm not saying that organizing prayer meeting is not important. It's important, but it has to be allocated to what it's designated for. Not going to the moon. Now he is intending to go to the moon, just like every other thing. Like I think one of them was this on his birthday party that somebody somebody donated to him. Was I think it's a Bentley or something. So when all these people, these things that they have deprived us from having the mindset of investigating and inventing, when the other people around the world invent those things, they want to be part of those who enjoy them. So why wouldn't they be part of the process? Why wouldn't they make their congregations to be part of the process of inventing those things? I don't know. I think AGK is it AGK that is gone or?
Yeah, I think AGK is gone. Hello, AGK.
Yeah, no, I think it's gone. I can only see the slot for yourself.
Okay. Yeah. And then I want to also bring in this the whole practices of a religion is structured in such a way that you don't have a room to ask questions. When you look at all the religions that we have, all the churches that we have, you look at their program from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you have programs that are loaded on these days. There are no sessions that are set for questions and answers. And in such a situation, I don't think that such a situation predisposes the followers to learn. It's just a kind of, vibrating things that is either things that they have conceived from their minds, or things that God has really told them to do. But even the Bible said that we should question, there's room for us to question certain things. But the practitioners of these religions have not created the rooms where people could really interrogate certain things. I think this goes a long way in trying to make critical thinking not part of the structure of the modern day church. And when you don't allow critical thinking to strive in an environment, you are already making some people zombies, just like AGK said, zombify. Ifeanyi Chukwu Nnadi also said, when these people come to take our forefathers for slavery, were they not Christians? Them, where were their Bibles and what they are telling us to preach among ourselves? Or is it only to their conscience? The idols that they ask us not to worship, the idols that ask us not to worship can be found in their various museums. Sam, can you just address this?
Yeah, well, I think, yeah, I can hear you, Mr. T. Our brother Fanny is actually on point. I think he should at some point be part of this podcast. We have to, when this conversation is going on, a lot of us assume that it's for some set of people, it's for these guys, it's for people who are not who have no work or something like that. This affects everybody. It affects literally everybody, and it's not gonna even end here. It's our kids. We're having kids that is still gonna face the same consequences as we are. As a boy, a guy living here in the UK, the same thing. If nothing changes, the same fate, the same complaints, the same things that I've actually faced myself is exactly the same fate, the fate of my kids, if nothing changes. And then the point is that when you go back and read things that the build-up of this religious concept, and then the question you ask yourself is, if religion, let me just use Christianity as my brother just said, if Christianity was structured to do good, where were there all these atrocities uncovered inside that same Christianity? We're talking about slavery. Most of this institutional crime was actually approved by religious leaders. some of it were approved by the Pope, some of it was approved by the Church of England, the Queen and the King. And then you ask yourself, that is what is going to give you that idea of challenging things, like challenging why would I have a good man, and then in that good man comes stealing and comes killing people. Then the person is just presenting themselves to be the good man, but the actions of that good man is what actually defines the good man. So the point I'm trying to make is that the point that they presented religion to us as a good idea or a good way of relating to your God does not necessarily mean that those things go automatically. It doesn't actually go automatically, because inside that religion, it's human that is going to be the player of those religion. And if that woman that is going to play this religion is a bad person, then regardless of how much Bible or how much this thing, and let me tell you, the most difficult part of these things is that the build up to that concept takes away the responsibility of you to question those things, and even the responsibility of the person that is meant to be the player of those things to be able to be accountable. So it's a weapon that you use against your own enemies. It's not a weapon that you use for yourself. And this is the reason why you see this religious this thing striving in countries where these guys have conquered, and it's not striving in their own country, because these are weapons they are using against those who they feel like, oh, these people are inferior to us. So we find a strategy to actually, influence them or overpower them, and so on and so forth. So if we want to go even more deeper, my brother Ifani, if I want to tell you a lot of stories, the ones that I know that actually, triggered my ideas to step out of religion, there's a lot that I can't even start explaining. Because most
no, I just said you are on point.
Yeah, most of these things, because just like our brother Ejike have just said, it's religion itself on its own is a double-edged sword. There are some good things in religion, and there are some bad things in the same religion. But what is important is not that things that is in between. It's actually the player, the person that is meant to administrate this religion. If that person intends to use it for good, then religion will be productive. It will be for good. It will be an agent of good. But if the person that is going to administrate this religion is an evil person, then whatever outcome comes from it will be evil. And this applies to what is even happening in our community now. The question you ask yourself: why do we have all these churches around everywhere, and then you cannot even trust somebody with things as simple as truth? Because the push is not actually to make people to be better. It's just to make them to belong, to be part of this sect, because their interest is not actually to change the narrative in that community. It's not about changing the narrative in that society. It's actually to conquer them, like I mentioned before. It's actually to make them to be superior. I don't know if what I'm saying is actually getting to the point. You know what I mean? So, so, and all of these things were all pre-planned. They have designed these things. What you're seeing in Nigeria, when you hear people talk about you talk about American African policy. American Nigerian policy. These are these policies that have been put in place that people are sent as agents or gatekeepers in Nigeria. People who are Nigerians, they are structured in Nigeria to protect this design, to protect that these people should not ask any questions. This has its correlation to our religion and also to our politics, to our leadership. Understand? So you don't ask questions because you know that people actually gain knowledge when they start questioning for things, when they start asking questions, when they start investigating, when they start challenging what happens to them.
Yeah.
But when you have,
I'm going to butt in here and ask you a question, and it is in continuation of your line of talk and thinking. But I'd like you to take a note of what Ifeanyi said. I remember our days in school when you used to preach there, and I loved it. But at the other hand, these people are not telling us the truth. Most people are still believing everything out of poverty. People are believing a lot of things out of poverty. They are believing that a magic will happen when they don't put themselves to the sword. They are believing that a lot of things will happen. You pray overnight and then, out of nowhere, manna will start falling from heaven. We were told that manna stopped. Immediately they stepped into the promised land. But this is still the kind of mindset that are still being bandied about by some of these GOs and all those people. When a process is not consistent with the result, that something is wrong somewhere. Now, how are these processes put in place to discourage critical thinking?
well, Mr. T, when you've a metaphorical comment, if I use that word, if you cause damage to somebody or if you rip somebody off, the best strategy for you is to keep them on that loop, to make sure they don't get to ask questions, because once they start asking questions, they will end up asking, why did you rip us off? This is why most of our political leaders, state leaders, governors and all of that, when they leave office, they want to instill somebody else that is going to protect and not question them or kind of challenge whatever they've done. So this is exactly what these people are doing. This is exactly the backdrops to this religious strategy. That once you tell people that that practical things like if you're sick, that some miracle will happen and then your sickness will go, then it's a kind of cut them off from thinking. It's kind of giving them hope that there is some strategy, there's some other things, there's some other factors that could attend to their sicknesses apart from them having to resolve it themselves. I was having a conversation with somebody about the winter here in the UK. I said, I think sometimes natural occurrence helps people to be critical in their thinking, because when things narrow you down to the wall, it gives you that no other option than to find a solution. But in our own side of the device, sometimes it feels like these people have got a pipeline to keep feeding these ideas and not making people to even think, have some breakup, and you just keep going around the loop, like from one end to the other. But what is important in all of this is that the good thing is that people are beginning to ask this question. Good thing that we have the social media and podcasts like this, where people like our brother Ifeanyi can see for themselves that they are not alone. That there is a lot of other people that is aligning to his way of thinking. You see people that have lived abroad and see how things are being solved. That if you have if there is no good road, if there is accident in roads, that there is a reason why this accident happens. And for us as human, is just to devise means to stop these things from happening. I'm not just believing that if I escape, if it didn't happen to me, that means I have some special luck or some special treatment from God. So the points about critical thinking is just another word to say people being able to ask questions, people being able to ask why, why did this happen? Why will I not have electricity in Nigeria when I have a government that is that have a private jet? Why would I not have a good road when, because as long as people start asking these questions, then you find out that the breakaway from these mentalities is more like a loop. It's an organized crime. That religion is making you feel like there's some other things, some other factors, or some other supernatural things that is going to take responsibilities of this defect, that you shouldn't do much about it, and it's all fine. God is gonna deal with it. And then the religious, the political section, doing whatever they want to do, and they are all part of this gang that promotes, and at some point some people refer them as the gate man, the people who protects the interest of those who propagated this whole idea, which is the masters. Yeah. I don't know if you're getting my point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but the good thing, like I've just mentioned before, is that people are raising concern, because you cannot continue with that. It's gotten to that level. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I want to ask you this question. Is religion, or let's say Muslim religion, Christian religion, are they against critical thinking?
Well, the point, if you dive into what actual religion is actually structured for you not to think. Religion is structured that there are other people who are assumed to be smarter than everybody else, that is going to devise a structure that everybody else has to follow. It's the same with Christianity. It's the same with Muslims. You are not allowed to add your own, trance, your own insight is not permitted. You are only allowed to follow. You are only allowed to believe, not to add to it.
Yeah. If fire is still on, poof, fell sick, and no one sold olive oil but spent weeks in the hospital. Our own people can't see that. That's still from a fire. The fire is really on fire. So, Sam, what can we do to? What is the role of education in all this, in trying to, raise the decibel about critical thinking, and trying to de-emphasize the effect of religion in keeping us sedated, and not allowing us to venture into this business of thinking for ourselves? Has the education any rules to play in it?
Yes, of course. But it's all, this whole structure is all like what do I call it? The pyramids. It has a tripod kind of build up, that one end it's supported by the other end, and the other end is supported by the other end. It's all linked, intertwined within each other. You understand? You can't overgrow your shadow. You remain within the cycle of what your capability is. So education, you can see that most of the things that was meant to be a tool, a beneficial tool, it turns back to become something that affects the community itself. Tools that you're meant to be using, that is meant to be, be beneficial, turns back to become, it becomes, turns out to be affecting you instead. In our educational system, in our structure, the structure of our education, you can see that our education, the system of our education is not structured for people to innovate themselves. And it's part of the point that I was making from from the start when I was referring to how the Western world came in and took away our own civilization and giving us their own civilization. Because within our own concept of education, the civilization we had before the white man came was more of a handy structural education that leads you to a trade, education that actually leads you to be productive. But this idea was now subletted into education that leads you to, to act superior, to act as if when you acquire some educational degrees or when you acquire some certifications, it's just some proof that you're smarter or you're more clever than your brothers. Is the tool, these tools now, change into being a tool that benefits the society rather than a tool that the society uses to challenge themselves. They use it as a competition among themselves. That somebody going to acquire a PhD and being a medical doctor or something like that, instead of being a tool to affect change in the society, it becomes something that affects the society itself. So education, of course, would have had a good impact on our social life, but because of the way the whole thing is structured, it's all about we fighting ourselves rather than we trying to help ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. I think finally I'll ask you this question, then you can round off and give us your conclusion on the matter. Somebody said that whenever we hit a dead end or whenever we have a problem, we look for saviors. For example, in recent times in our climb, you see people who when they want to the crave to make money has led so many people into making forays into okite and kidnapping and all those. Others have sedated themselves and gone into churches to pray overnight. Nobody is telling you that your faith without work is dead. So with this in play, with this structure in play, and with the increasing number of guys who are into this, the increasing number of churches, that tells you that this situation is not coming to an end anytime soon. So do you think that government should play a more critical role as in a state in the southeast, trying to bring some kind of order, not just in the traditional setting, but also in churches where people have been made to go to church from Monday till Sunday, Monday to Monday. So I wonder when people will have time to do their work and they probably even go to work. So do you think that government has a role to play in this? If you think so, advise us, and then we can close on that.
Well, it's a collective responsibility, in my view. I think everybody has got even a drop of input in making the entire process, to change. No, so it's not just the government, and this is one of the things that we often fail to consider, that this government is still one of us that ended up being the leader. Um, um, uh, I think what I believe, in my view, is to be part of the public, and the solution to it is ordinary people like me and you, or like our brother Ifani that is on the other side, sending his comments, being able to engage and challenge ourselves, being able to get really involved, not just making comments, but being passionate about these things. You know what I mean. This
Yeah.
idea is a very serious, it's serious and very dangerous as well. Like I mean, we need to start engaging ourselves. We need to start, preaching just the same way. Um, the I mean the system, the service of Jesus to human, just the same way Jesus on his own as an individual was able to influence the 12 men, and the 12 men started influencing the other people, and then it becomes a big a big movement that that is now being translated into Christianity or some other religion. Yeah, I think if we're going to be thinking that the government itself will be able to do this on their own, we are just going to, because the government themselves is part of the cycle. They are part of this cycle that promotes this idea. In fact, for the government themselves to be able to sustain the lies and all of this manipulation they're offering the public, they need religious people to be on the other side, dampening their critical thinking, so that they don't challenge whatever the government is doing. So it's not the result or the solution is not, in my view, it may not be a popular opinion, but in my view, it wouldn't come from the government. It's ordinary people like us having this conversation, educating our own people, telling our own people, like some of us that lives, it's not traveling to overseas and coming back with the latest kind of cars and the latest kind of houses and all of that. There are better knowledges that we should be able to transfer to our people that back home, educating them, telling them that these things that you see in America is possible for us to have it in Nigeria, rather than us having to take this horrible journey that most of us are now. You can see them in pictures, in the Sahara Desert and part of Libya, where our young people are being maltreated, like if there's some I don't know what right word to use. It's all about us, getting involved, knowing that this is not just about us. It's about the children we're having. It's about the young ones that we're giving birth to. If it would be unfair from us that we fought to be human, we fought to survive, and our children are even going to be facing the same consequences. So it's something, Mr. T, for us to be always sitting down here to have this conversation. It's not just that not just because we have too much time. It's not because we don't have other things that we're doing, or because we are good speakers. Not because of that, but it's just for us to make that little input, to add a little bit input to what the voices of, if other people will start bringing their own voices, adding their own voices to it as well, we will be able to raise a unanimous voice or a collective voice that will start challenging this. Because on an individual basis, if we have to do it by ourselves, if you have to start raising this voice, if you go back home now and start having this conversation. I don't think you will survive the push or the pressure from this oracles that uphold the idea. So the same way they have instituted this into a powerful institution in our community. That's the same way we should start, finding a way to to organize or to build up this some sort of strong institution. Just like I mentioned in one of our podcasts, I said that, and this is part of what religion have inducted us into believing, that assuming that God will devise changes, that God Himself or some supernatural power will always make the right people to win. But that is not actually the truth. The truth is that the good people needs to strategize. They need to build the same, even more strategy. They need to devise a better strategy than the evil people in any given community. That is the only time. That is the only way good things will strive, or that is the only way good things will reign. Otherwise, if the good people were just going to be standing in the fence, the bad people will be having a ride on them. And this is just the facts, and this is the same way it's happened all over the world. And it's just about we being able to inform our people and keep pushing this narrative and keep giving them this information and keep talking about it and keep getting involved as well. I believe that it's going to take a while. For me, in my view, I've given up that it's going to happen within my lifetime. But even if it didn't happen, it's actually stir up a process that our children can actually follow from. At least there's some part of it that we, as the present generation, will be able to push back a little bit, and then our children will start from where we stopped. So to conclude, I think, in my view, religion have done so much harm to us, to the way we think, to the way we see things. It has ripped off this cognition of critical thinking that is part of human, what do I call it, natural. They have taken it away from us, that we don't challenge things, we don't challenge our problems, we don't ask why to our problems. We just assume, just according to what our pastors or our imams have told us, that some spiritual power somewhere else was going to come and get rid of those problems, and it never happens. In fact, it's getting worse. And then the same man that was telling us how the spiritual man would do all of this, he will come back tomorrow and tell you how he and his team members will be going to the moon to have a meeting. So it's not, to be honest, it's not fair. It's not fair on us. We need to start pushing. We need to start pushing.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sam. In fact, is a situation that needs to be of concern to anybody who has any iota of humanity in him about what is happening in our place. But before I go on, I just want to appreciate the audience, the people who have stayed with us throughout this talk. I want to appreciate CC, Charles Sudan, Mohammed Tanimu, Imai Zenwa, KK11, Henry Chebona, Ngozi Uwu, Vincent Ago, Samuel Ago, Franklin. Oh no, special shout out to you. He gave us 99 stars. I really want to get with you on outside the studio. Chinedu Eze, Ifeanyi Chukwu Nnadi. Ifeanyi has really engaged us today. Ifeanyi, that was a good one coming from you, and we want to have you coming again and again with your thought-provoking contributions. Osha Sam, Okiofo, Mary Umodo, and then Ejike Chime. Ejike also sent us a 99 stars. Ejike, kudos to you. Ejike was part of the talk before he left. Something must have caused him to leave. And then I just want to appreciate you guys and say, you know, a lot of heartfelt shout out to you for having stayed with us in the course of this talk. And then, you know, while we were talking, we had cause. I had cause to have taken some of our contributions down. You know, Ejike was of the opinion that we don't need religion, or rather, the religion we should be talking about is the religion of humanity, where we'll be preaching more of love. That when you preach love, you know, more than 90% of the problems we are talking about today will be solved. When Jesus himself, you know, preached love, most of the things he preached were things that when you put yourself in a situation, you should be able to know what it feels like before you now begin to deal the same, a kind of opposite deal to another person. So, but sometimes we don't, it's like, do as I say, but not as I do. That is all we get to hear from some of these people who are benefiting from religion, in quotes. You know, you see all manner of all these people who are doing okite, some of our pastors who go on the pulpit to say something entirely different from what the scripture is telling us. You know, and then, you know, we have come to this conclusion that it is important for us to really challenge ourselves. Challenge yourself, ask questions, you know, engage in discussions, you know, engage in conversations that will bring about critical thinking, questioning the things that you see that are not in conformity with reality. You know, somebody will tell you to pray from now till the following day. There's no food in the house. You continue to pray. If you go abroad and you are praying, you pray from morning till night. Don't go to work. And when it is winter, you see by the time you wake up, you may not even wake up because you probably must have embalmed yourself in your house. So it is important that we begin to see that some of the problems that we have are the problems that we've caused for ourselves, the problems that we've made for ourselves, because God has given us brain to solve some of these problems. He said we are gods, and if we are gods, you can also create, you can also, you know, dream dreams, you can also conquer. So by way of my closure, I urge you to, you know, to ask questions, you know, build dreams of your own, create and then conquer the territory of ignorance. And when you conquer that, you see that you are even closer to God than somebody who is telling you to go and fast, or who's telling you to pray when he himself is busy eating or doing some other thing in his house. So as we continue on this talk show, we also ask you to engage. We are here just to try to push back on the boundaries of ignorance. We are here to try to make people understand that you have been given all the abilities to do things for yourself. Take responsibility for yourself. Don't give your responsibility. Don't allow any other person to have that responsibility over you. It is, I'm not saying don't go to church or don't, but subject yourself to critical thinking, subject yourself to critical inquiry and evaluation. And when you do that, you see that at the end of the day, when you are into any situation, you should be able to know when darkness is coming or when light is taking over from darkness. As we say that, I wish all of us a very, very resounding happy evening and the best of the week coming ahead. As for my the shotgun and the AK-47 that talks with me every Saturday, kudos, and I pray that you continue to be reinforced in your strength and in understanding to be able to churn out and dish out what you're dishing out. AGK, kudos to you also for coming on unannounced at a very short notice. He came on and then he was able to engage not just me, he engaged every other person and give us these stars to make our standing within the community of Facebook even more solid. Thank you very much. And Mr. Amnadi, keep your guns firing and loaded at all times. You are You are a wonderful guy to have by anybody's side. Have a wonderful weekend or a wonderful starting of the week, and have a beautiful week ahead of you. Thank you, guys, and please all the way. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.